My friend, do you know what the most beautiful moment in a person's life is? It's not the moment of great victory when everyone applauds you. It's not fame, money, or glory. The most beautiful moment is when you sit with yourself in silence, look back at yesterday, and realize that you are not the same person who whispered to themselves before. This change doesn't happen suddenly. It doesn't come from nowhere. It's the result of quiet accumulation, small, repeated steps, daily actions that build into something no one could have imagined. They say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. I say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, then another, then another. And when repeated day after day, these steps create what we call growth. Growing by just 1% may seem small, like a drop of water on a rock. It doesn't change the rock in a day or even a month. But over years, the rock slowly gives way. Imagine if we gathered that 1% every day. By the end of 1 year, we would have multiplied not just our strength, but our mind, our awareness, our discipline, and our ability to face the world. This simple law is not just mathematics, it's ancient philosophy. Wisdom from people who lived before us, suffered before us, and faced what we face today. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy born in the streets of Athens and the forums of Rome, teaches that mastery of oneself is the greatest victory a human can achieve. But mastery doesn't come in a flash of inspiration or a sudden awakening. It comes through continuous practice, through small improvements, through the 1% that accumulates to create a new person. Do you know what the 1% you can start today is? It's simple. Click the like button and subscribe to this channel. A small step, yet it means so much for continuing this journey. Your small interaction is also 1% that strengthens this channel. Consider the story of Zeno of Citium, the man who started this school. He was a wealthy merchant traveling the seas until the day his ship sank and he lost everything. Imagine your wealth, your dreams, your effort, all at the bottom of the sea. Most would have collapsed, but he sat on a rock and said, "Thank the gods I have sunk, for it has opened the way to philosophy." From loss, from zero, from a moment of breaking, he said not, "I will become a greater merchant," but "I will become a greater human being." And thus he founded the Stoic school we speak of today. This beginning teaches us a profound lesson. Transformation sometimes starts from breaking. The first 1% you add to your life can be born from a fall, from loss, from a moment you thought was the end, but was actually the beginning. Look at Epictetus, born a slave, without freedom, without choice. One day his master broke his leg, but Epictetus said, "They can break my leg, but they cannot break my will." Not mere words, but a declaration of an inner revolution. Human freedom begins when you decide your mind is yours alone. His liberation didn't happen in a day. It was day by day, thought by thought, practice by practice. 1% of wisdom each morning, until he became one of history's greatest teachers. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of the greatest empire in the world, whispered to himself in his journals, "Rise. You were not made for comfort, but for action." He could have lived among luxury and servants, yet he trained himself in simplicity and discipline. Sometimes he slept on cold floors, not out of need, but to remind himself that comfort is not a condition for strength. The journals he wrote are today considered some of the greatest philosophy books. None of these men became themselves in a single moment. They built themselves day by day, with small acts, small thoughts, repeated practices. This is the secret of 1%. Now, let's bring this closer to our lives. How many times have you told yourself, "I'll start when the conditions improve," or "I'll change when I find motivation"? Conditions don't improve on their own. Motivation doesn't fall from the sky. Stoics tell us, don't wait, start now, even with a small step. Imagine if you decided to read just 1 page of a book daily. 1 page. After a month, 30 pages. After a year, 365 pages. A whole book, just by committing to 1%. Or You decide to exercise for just 5 minutes each morning. 1 week, small difference. 1 month, you feel lighter. 1 year, stronger than you imagined. Not because of hours in a gym, but because of repeated 1% improvements. Or spend 1 minute daily writing something positive, a note of gratitude. 1 minute seems small, yet over time, your mind starts to shift. You begin to see the light in small details. Gratitude becomes a habit, not a struggle. Seneca said, "He who does not control himself will never control anything else." Mastery comes not from sudden power, but from continuous practice. There will be hard days, days with no drive, no energy. This is when Stoicism says, don't seek motivation, seek duty. Duty is doing what must be done, even when you don't feel like it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning, "You were not made for comfort, but for action." We too were not made to live in a dull, repetitive cycle, but to make our days meaningful. So, what is the 1% you can add today? Maybe a minute of meditation. Maybe turning off your phone for an hour to regain focus. These small details create accumulation. When we look at great athletes, we see them lifting trophies, but the secret wasn't that moment. It was thousands of unseen moments. Great scientists? Their discoveries weren't in one day. They came after hundreds of failed experiments. Thomas Edison, after 1,000 failed attempts at creating the light bulb, said, "I have not failed. I've just found 1,000 ways that won't work." Each attempt was 1%, and accumulated, it created light. 1% is a life philosophy, not just a habit. It's a decision to believe in accumulation. To trust that what you do today, however small, will make a difference tomorrow. Imagine waking up surrounded by noise, messages, tasks, news. You might think 1% is too small, but Stoicism teaches, you don't wait for calm to act, you act despite the chaos. Even small daily choices are opportunities for 1%. Hit snooze or rise immediately. The difference, training your discipline instead of postponing. Eating mindlessly or with gratitude. A small act that strengthens your spirit. Everyday actions like this build your inner strength. The 1% is not just in external achievements, but in your mind, your calm, your clarity. Steve Jobs? Not an instant miracle. Obsessed with small details, day by day. J.K. Rowling? Wrote Harry Potter page by page, in cafes amid chaos, not perfect conditions. The Stoics call it daily practice. Epictetus. Don't think you'll become wise by reading books alone. Train yourself like an athlete. Life is a gym. Small acts repeated build a strong inner self. 1% doesn't mean pushing yourself beyond limits. Stoicism is about harmony, not suffering. Choose small, sustainable habits. Write 3 lines a day, 10 push-ups. Read 1 page. 1 minute of gratitude. These are seeds. Over time, they grow into walls, then buildings. Islamic history. Imam al-Bukhari spent decades collecting hadith, building a legacy brick by brick. Gandhi led a non-violent revolution with 1% daily patience and persistence. This philosophy tells us, life is not about waiting for miracles. It's about creating them slowly. Patience over time is stronger than any sudden power. The 1% builds momentum. And when we stumble, it's the philosophy of Stoicism that teaches consistency matters more than perfection. Imagine a soldier in freezing battlefields. No luxury, no motivation, but tying his armor, standing upright, breathing deeply. These small actions give him strength. So it is with us. Epictetus reminded his students, it is not things that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Shift perspective, see challenges as training. That's your 1%. Nadal, Malcolm X, Einstein, Mandela, they didn't transform in a day. They added 1% daily. And so can we. Look at life like a ship in a stormy sea. You can't control the waves, but you can adjust the sails. 1% small adjustment, repeated, changes your entire destination. So how do you turn 1% from an idea into a daily habit? Don't wait. Start small. One act, one choice, one reflection. Life is built brick by brick, step by step, day by day. Stoicism teaches, success is a journey, not a moment. Even small accumulation over years creates explosions of change. Start your 1% today.